Welcome to the podcast with Alex Rodriguez and Ron Williams. Hey! Today we give our show a checkup. We also check in and give you something to check out. We take time to evaluate our show and come up with some ideas to help it grow. So thank you and you for watching today. Have you had enough with our wordplay? Let's just get the show started if that's okay. And here they are now.
Well, and to go forward, you have to look back. And we're going to, this whole episode, by the way, welcome to the podcast. This whole episode, we decided today, or I decided, or, through our conversation that we had this afternoon before we recorded, was we wanted to go over what have we done with the podcast for the first month. Yeah. What have we been doing right? What have we enjoyed? What has really taken off as like, this is something that I really enjoy doing, and I think the audience is interacting, in a good way with this. So we do have some analytics, we do have some stats. We probably won't necessarily share those with you guys publicly, but I've gone over the numbers. Part of being a producer as well as a host of a podcast is you have to analyze, like, where are you at? How many people are watching you? What is the age group? What is the demographics? And we found that, 80% of our viewership has come from, and some of this information will be new to Alex, so I'm sharing it here with everybody, is that over 80% of our interactions have been with males that have also come to us via our YouTube Shorts feed. Like, we put out a lot of videos on YouTube Shorts, and that creates an audience of strangers finding us through the algorithm, or finding us through this feed, this random feed of nobody knows what they're going to get when you're just doom scrolling. And so I've made it a point since the very, very, very beginning of this podcast to put out a weekly music news video, and those shorts are supposed to be less than 3 minutes. They're supposed to be 9:16 ratios, so they're vertical format. They're designed for mobile, and they're all about generating candy. It's a snack. It's really just a piece of candy, because we've spent many, many hours interviewing our friends and interviewing musicians that we're fans of. We've met these people in our real lives. We've met them virtually, like with Bill and Ashley, and we've recorded long conversations. I look at that as like a meal. But what the YouTube Shorts are and what our interactions on Instagram and TikTok are typically just a piece of candy. And I'm not necessarily going to, how do I put this? As a producer, I love meeting new people. I want to put our content in front of strangers in order to build an audience. And we've started off with friends and family, and we're grateful for every single person that's watched this podcast as well as given us feedback, positive, negative, or otherwise. And in the last month, we've discovered what we really like to do is provide connections with great musicians that we're fans of. We've also discovered some new acts. We loved our last interview with Ashley Felton. We have all felt that was not only our best podcast, it was our best format. Really short interview, some great promotion, and then, hey, let's get to the music.
Many things fell into place with the Ashley Felton interview, including super important live music, right? She got to perform, and we need more of that. Shorter and sweeter, and I did like the Ashley Felton interview because I feel like we are coming into our own as in terms of who we are as interviewers,
explorers,
and it goes it goes hand in hand with what our strengths are. One strength that we share is we're both passionate, not just about music, but about the artist and the performer. And we want every performer, who worth their salt, to have a venue. We want to support them, a venue, a platform. So some of the things that I enjoy about this podcast, and that's sort of part of our flavor, our brand, is the discovery. New music. What is the OC music scene like today, or what's it? It doesn't have to be OC, but OC adjacent even. What's it like today compared to how we came up? But we're discovering, sort of our own journey, and talking to these old bandmates and people from the old, Orange County music scene, as well as investigating what is there to be had now? I'm a musician. I want to start making music, this era of music, this chapter of my musical career. I'd like to get a band, but by the end of the year, and then get to know where I can go, where I can start, what my ambitions should be, to get our name out there, and that goes hand in hand with what we're doing with this podcast too. We believe in it. We think it's worth it, and what we would like to do is get better at attracting the engagement. Because as you know, you don't have to be in this endeavor to understand that it is an ocean. It is a galaxy of content, of ambition, of different kinds of motion. You know what I mean? And when I'm discovering new podcasts and new content on social media, it by and large is by creators who have been doing it for 3 years, not somebody who rolled out of bed this morning with a great idea. And that's always been the way I created, being in a band and being a songwriter and stuff. Just like, hey, here's the song I wrote this morning. Let's make a little video about it. The key is talent is one thing, engagement or engaging material is another, but there's nothing like the work and the consistency.
I want to stop you there for 1 second, and I want to bring up something that somebody shared with me today. They shared with me, now this last couple of weeks has been Coachella, which is obviously a huge music festival. And if I wasn't here, I would probably like to be at Coachella. The headliners are probably not for me. I mean, I fell in love with Sabrina Carpenter. She had Madonna on last night. And then Justin Bieber making an ultimate comeback. He hadn't been around for 3 years. And I'd never heard of Karol G, but she is probably the Bad Bunny of female Latin performers. And Karol G entertained me as well. But the best part about it, I didn't have to go to Coachella and be out in the middle of the desert and sweat with 120,000 of my closest friends. I was able to watch it from home. I live streamed it every single night, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so somebody shared with me today that there is this new singer that hit #1 for the first time. They took over the #1 R&B artist top from Olivia Rodrigo. She had been the #1. Well, this artist is called Inga Rose, and her song "Celebrate Me" has blown up. 228,000 followers on Instagram, and I did a little research. 3.2 million followers on YouTube. And guess what it is? It's human written lyrics, real stories, but it stems and arranged, refining using Suno. It's an AI artist. This woman that writes this song is 62 years old, and she has an AI avatar called Inga Rose, and it's a younger version of herself.
Oh,
and she just hit
goodness.
#1. So I think it's not only newsworthy, I think it's very important to realize that, I've found a creative outlet in this podcast, and through the use of Suno, I've been able to do those intro songs and those music news cuts, or whatever you call them, caps, the beginning or the end of our shows. So using my handwritten notes for music news, coming up with, somebody's performing at the House of Blues, the Coach House, or at the Observatory. The Observatory. I can choose which performers that I highlight in my weekly news segment, and I could do a little story about them. Early on, Joe Benson had passed away, so I did a whole segment on one of my very first weekly news segments about Joe Benson passing. And it was unique in the way of, I wrote the story as a journalist, and I put it into the AI, and it created a musical theme. Now, people were saying that it's much more memorable to have somebody sing it to you than to say it to you. But in one of our little pre-production conversations that you and I had this morning, early this afternoon, was that I'm no Kurt Loder. I'm not an MTV music star. I certainly believe in my skills and talents, my curiosity, my ability to speak, my research. What I lack in talent, I more than make up for in hard work. And by researching AI, by creatively coming up with graphics and logos and caricatures and learning ChatGPT or learning AI. This whole podcast has been a learning experience for me. I've taken photographs of like Ken off of his Facebook page, put it into ChatGPT and told it to create this little thing for Song Fight. And I took all 4 of those female singers when we went out to Strum Brewing, and we fell for a more and all the performers that played that day. And I took one little screenshot of their performing and turned it into this collage.
That was beautiful.
It was kind of like a poster. I mean, it looks amazing. Not only are each one of them in their caricature form, looking amazing and wonderful and entertaining, to combine all 4 of them from one show was unique because we went out there on a whim. It was a Sunday afternoon. We drove out to Ontario and heard some bands play, and we came home with not only a story about that night, we came home with being fans of these artists. And now or never, we're looking to add her to the podcast. We're also going to reach out. Amora has already reached out to us, and we're going to reach back out to her. And in a couple of weeks, we'll probably have her on the podcast. And her new band performed last night. They had a blast. I saw some videos. And so by discovering new artists through this podcast, I'm also finding a way to like, well, how can I help them out and what can I do for them? And the not just doing a podcast about them and telling their story and introducing you to their music, but actually getting my hands dirty and actually helping Rick from Hot Monkey Love. He is the guy that did this Yellow album. And if you can see there's a little goat in his album. And I'm helping him do a 3D animated Pixar style music video to go along with the song Looking for Goats. And so tomorrow, Sunday, this will have already been edited, but I'm doing a live stream. It could take an hour, it could take 2 hours of me actually producing that AI animation. So I'm going to introduce you to my workflow, my process, and not necessarily lean into the AI computer guy that I am, but that's kind of who I am. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And Alex has told me that he's writing new music and he's working on some, self-development or however you want to call it for his future podcast that we eventually get to. And so we're going to kind of diverge into these 2 trees and grow separately while we also come back to the OC Music Podcast and stick together. So all the artists that we've had on so far and all these episodes that we have, we're building a library. And those episodes are available now. You can go back and look at them. We are going to walk away from the Star Wars theme. We made it to episode 9. We did the prequels. We suffered through the prequels. And I do feel like now it's time for us to move to our Mandalorian phase and our Grogu phase.
Can you explain what we're talking about exactly? Because
if you look at our thumbnails on our YouTube page, you'll see that every episode has a Star Wars theme to it, meaning we wanted to link it to each one of the episodes was going to be kind of like, I guess nomenclature-wise, having to do with the title of the it really didn't have anything to do with Star Wars. But Alex is a big.
Is that you as the creative as far as production? Is that you just entertaining yourself?
It mostly for me, but also we needed something.
Yeah.
And one day I think we had a little short conversation about, I know what I'm going to do with the thumbnails, and so I'll show you these 4 mock-ups that we did of the future thumbnails, and a future artist that I'm hoping to interview, which is Glen Meredith from the band All the Madmen. He is on that compilation CD that I'm still going over. But I think Glen may be our final, not necessarily our final interview from a different band. We have had trouble getting hold of Acid. We've had trouble getting a hold of Magnetic North and the band Satellite as well. But Glen Meredith from All the Madmen, we're going to interview him here shortly. And Alex and I are actually going to go see him play with his band next weekend. And we're going to hopefully interview him live. So it might be a different type of podcast where we're actually in person. But we've gotten all these wonderful new cameras, and we've gotten some new recording gear. We've gotten new, beautiful, fuzzy microphones that we could talk to in the wind. And we can also, and so all this new equipment will help us be more creative and more artistic. Unlike Alex, who just needs a microphone and a guitar, and he can entertain you for hours. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm going to lean into my side of my production, and I'm going to allow Alex to lean into his stuff, and we're going to come together once in a while for a good communication.
Yeah, ill communication. And Engagement, baby. We're gonna do what works. We're not going to.
We're going to do more of what works and less of what doesn't.
But whatever it is, we're not going to employ tactics that we don't believe in or whatever.
True.
You know?
Yeah, or promote people that we don't believe in. I'm not all for that. I'm all for, go with the people that came with you.
Yeah.
The reason why I believed in these bands 35 years ago, I believe in them today. And I'm finding it fascinating rediscovering relationships with like Ken Rue. Matter of fact, I just told Alex I reached out to my old bandmate Mike McCrory, who was in the band Early Man. He was our lead singer.
Great band. I cannot wait for that episode.
I am so excited because Mike and I, not only did we talk about our experiences together in the band Early Man. Yeah. Does that work? Yeah. Not only are we talking about, but he also said that over the course of the years, he had 6 different drummers, and I was one of them. And so for the year that it was very important to me when we lived together and we were playing together, but he had drummers before me and he had drummers after me. And it was like this 1-year relationship that him and I were in with Eddie, the bass player. I came out of it as that was a deep, meaningful experience. Not only did I learn these 12 songs, I learned 15 other songs, and we performed as many gigs as we could. But like most musicians out there, I'm sure you've played with multiple bands with multiple configurations, and not all of them work out. Not all of them are Alex, who stays not only in communication with Ken, but the core group of Bread Circus are going to reunite and have a show this summer. Yeah. And it's amazing to me that people can stay friends for 30 years. It's amazing to me that people can stay in touch. And this platform that we've gone through has given us that ability to reach out and tell stories. Okay, so going forward, Alex, what do you think you'd like to do with the podcast from here on out?
Well, one thing is this podcast is leading me out into the world to discover new music and, and what's happening sort of today. And, we're Bread Circus happened right after high school and into my, early 20s, early to mid 20s, I guess. And that's a long time ago, folks. That's half my life ago. And I realized one of the ways you get old is by ceasing to learn and ceasing to grow. And this is a big opportunity for me and Ron both to grow by learning what's out there and seeing what's available, by being inspired by new music and new art, and seeing that life goes on and we are part of life. So all of that feeds into what I come back to this podcast to do and to talk to other musicians about and to talk to Ron about. It feeds itself. So the main thing is, it keeps you young, right? It keeps me rolling out of bed every morning. Like I remember, oh yeah, I'm not done. I am still a musician. I've got a ton of new music inside me. Music is always happening for me in my mind, and it's what you were saying earlier. It's like you can have the talent, but it's the work that gets it done. It's the work that makes the world go round, because talent isn't worth the paper it's printed on unless you do the work. And for me, this podcast, which is something I never would have come up with on my own, I never would have started a podcast. Ron is the one with those wheels. He's the one that's like, get in, we're going for a podcast, right?
Yeah, let's go. And I drag you along.
Yeah, and without this, what would I be doing? I'd be having to self-start. Yeah. Who wants to do that? No, I'm kidding. But bottom line, kids, I tell my boys this. I tell everyone I can this. It's like, especially people who are like, "Oh, you're so talented." You're born with that. You don't have to use everything that you're born with. It's the one who gets out of bed, who suits up and shows up and does it. That's the one.
Yeah, I just recently heard that, you may have more talent than me, but I'm going to outwork you. And so the whole point is, like, there are people with talent right now that are playing out at Coachella, and there's 100 performers on 8 different stages that are all at different periods of their career. Some of them are very young, very early on. Some are hugely popular and absolutely deserve to have the main stage. And then you think about some of those artists that are just now being discovered, because the best part of going out and performing, like I remember back in our days of like, you'd go to a show, there'd probably be 3 or 4 bands on the bill that night. And you had no idea who you were going to be playing with, because they said, well, we're going to slot you at 8 o'clock. We'll do sound check at 2 in the afternoon. And you're lucky if you meet the other performers at all. A lot of them were like, we're not getting a sound check. You're going to plug in and we're going to do a sound check 2 minutes before you go live. So we would also get to know the bands that were either performing before us or after us. And I will play this one clip that John shared to me from Misfit Toys. I want to play this now. So you can see in that video that was the night that I met Misfit Toys. You can see in that video, my lead singer, Mike McCrory, was down front helping the band out with water. You could see my ponytail and my younger self walking in front of the camera, just totally out of it, thinking that I'm having such a good time listening to this band play. And that was at the Boar's Head out in West Covina, or they were just in Covina, I think. And it was so great to not only have that video, but also remember, well, that was the night that I met Stacy and Misfit Toys. Well, guess what? We formed a bond. Her guitar player and I went on to work together. He helped me find a new job. I ended up putting together the compilation CD. Misfit Toys, one thing led to another, which led to another, which led to another. And so hopefully there are people out there at Coachella that are meeting each other today that are going to go on to do great things together, whether it's collab, whether it's to help each other out on their social media. I saw, for instance, it wasn't Jelly Roll. I learned that there's another guy out there, not Jelly Roll. He brought on David Lee Roth. Now his name is I'm drawing a blank. I'm going to have to look that up. That's going to kill me. So, Teddy Swims.
I've heard that name.
I know that Teddy Swims is greatly talented, because the night that we did actually go to, I don't know if you remember this, in our past, Alex and I went out to we met to go to the House of Blues in Anaheim, and we were going to go see some performers that night, and Teddy Swims was the performer that night. And we were surprised because not only were they sold out, there was a line around the block for people wanting to get in to see Teddy Swims. And so he brought out David Lee Roth at Coachella last weekend. I don't know who he's bringing out this weekend. But it was great for me to say, well, there's Madonna comes on stage with Sabrina Carpenter. Who knows who Justin Bieber is going to bring out tonight. And then maybe tomorrow Karol G brings out somebody. And then somebody knows somebody who knows somebody. And then you realize that the whole family of musicians, the idea of, Alex being a singer-songwriter, me being a drummer, we could have a bass player or a keyboard player come down to the podcast and we could make music together, and that could be an episode. And so I know look, Todd, I'm a huge fan of Todd. We did an interview with him already. And if we do bring some musicians into the podcast to play live, we can do our living room concerts, because you could tell our new studio is clearly not a studio, it's our living room. And I'm sitting in front of the fireplace. Alex is there in the nice casual comforter today. Comforter, what is that thing? It's not
Recliner.
recliner. So he's enjoying his recliner. And so going, the future is what we make of it. So anything that we mentioned today maybe happens in real life. Alex did say something to me earlier, which I found funny. He goes, I'm afraid to say that out loud to you because then you might actually make it happen.
What a compliment.
I don't know if that was a compliment or a fear, because new fear unlocked. Don't tell Ron anything. He might actually do it.
You're overthinking it. You're
Of course
overthinking
I am. That's who I am.
I meant that I see your hard work. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for your point of view, your interest in all this, and that's it. That's it. Yes, compliment it was.
Thank you. Well, and like I said about your band and your musicianship, and I was clearly a fan of you before. I don't know if we were friends first and then I became a fan later. And it's an awkward position to be in, to be a fan of somebody and also, root for them as a friend. Mm-hmm. Because I'm encouraging Alex to explore his musical roots. And I've already heard feedback from multiple people that I've talked to on this podcast about reawakening the musician inside of them, reawakening connections. And last week, Bill, in that Ashley Felton interview, mentioned that he had reached out to Todd McKenzie from the band Awake, and they've now rekindled their friendship. And hopefully someday going forward, they end up playing together and making sweet, sweet music together. Yep. And I do look forward to where we're going to be in 6 months from now. This is the strangest part of where we're at. And why did I want to have this episode today? Last thought on this. Because we're only a month in. We've only been doing this for about 6 weeks.
This truly is a staff meeting.
It really is. And thank you for being here.
Right. Yeah. Let me stop you. You covered a lot of ground, but you talking about seeing the night you met whomever.
Misfit Toys.
Yeah,
right. At the Boar's Head.
And all the years from there to here, 30 years, right? You know what I mean? What I was saying earlier about the one who takes flight, the one with motion who does the thing, that's the one who's going to succeed and create something beautiful, or create whatever there is to create, and you're not going to see the results at the end of the day, which is why we need to do what gives us life, and what we're passionate about, and what we're either comfortable doing or not comfortable doing, but we still want to do it. You have to grind, because it's only looking back 30 years like Ron here. Some musicians don't play anymore. Some continue to play the whole time. And so talent's cool. Good for you.
Talent will only get you so far. I've heard that before.
Which is completely true. But let me just tell you this. You think if you didn't know who the Rolling Stones were, you'd like Mick Jagger's voice? You know what I mean? You think people want to sit around and hear. You think those are the best musicians in the world? I love the Rolling Stones, but I also am aware enough to know that, they've been doing it for 70 damn years.
They're really good at the songs they play,
and they haven't stopped.
Yeah,
right. And they're the Ding Dang Stones. So we stopped. I think you and I have that in common, Ron. Like we stopped for a time, but it's time to stop stopping.
We paused,
and now it's time to hit play.
And so, again, with the retrospective that we're doing for the Orange County Rock with a Twisted Lemon CD right here, what's fascinating about that CD, obviously, is not just the relationships I made with the people back then, but that night that my band, it was in a battle of the bands with Misfit Toys, or our band, the Mike McCrory band, is our band ended up breaking up or not being able to record by the time that compilation took live. And it was going to be Bread Circus and our band together on one, and we expanded it and expanded it and expanded it, and I rolled with it. I met some new people. I met some, got some other people involved. But the process of manufacturing and making a compact disc back in the day was all we had. We didn't have websites we could stream to. We didn't have portable recording studios in our hand. We had, if we were lucky, a 4-track recorder. If we were really lucky, we had an 8-track recorder. And back in the day of even coming up with a digital audio tape, like these DAT tapes, I think Alex mentioned that he has a library of DAT tapes from way back in the day, or cassette tapes. Like I even have behind me now some cassette tapes that I remember helping Alex with in the mid-90s, and his artwork ended up on the cassette tape? Well, you needed printers, you needed scanners.
Hey, raise your hand if you've got one, and and thank Ron here for his printer, his time, right?
Yeah, and how many of those stickers? We bought the stickers at Office Max or whatever. We put them on each one of the tapes. We print them out with this shrunk down version. It was amazing, but it was such a. I used the term earlier today with you, being a maker, being a creator, and obviously shout out to Ken Maru for bringing this up in our interview. Was to be a producer versus a promoter. Someone who puts something together and makes something is a producer, and to have a talent all day long, to have a musical talent, or to be a songwriter, or to be a bass player, or to be a piano player, until you actually do something with it, then it's just wasted potential. And I love the idea that we're recording our conversations and putting them out there, because I've thought about this for at least 5 years. And a couple of years ago, Alex and I were putting together the business plan to open a venue. And then we realized that the audience for live music may not necessarily be where we are in Orange County. Like, there isn't necessarily, but when you're looking at Coachella and 120,000 people, if you build it, they will come. But the art installations and the massive size of Coachella, plus the fact that they've been doing it for 26 years, is really impressive, because that organization gets together every single year and says, what did we do wrong? How can we make it better? What did we do right? And let's do more of that. And so with this podcast, obviously, we're wanting to build upon our success. The BS of the whole thing is build upon your success. And it's trust me, I didn't invent that term.
Okay.
Matter of fact, there was an old organization called BOS, Build on Success. And for me, I'm like, oh no, that's all BS. We want to build on our successes. And so going forward, when Alex is working on a database of venues that are currently in place. We lost a venue here at the end of last year that had been around for 30 years. It was an all ages club in Anaheim. And what was the name of that club? Pop quiz?
Tip of my tongue. It was Palace. No.
We'll put it up here. I hate putting Alex on the spot like that. But the idea that club closed in December, and after 30 years of being around, it was really kind of sad, because the people that ran the venue, the people that performed at that venue, those artists that have gone through there, and there's several famous performers that played at that venue, and went on to superstardom, and then they come back and it's closed. And it's sad to me, but also it is just the way that the world works. You go to a restaurant and you fall in love with it, and you're like, oh, the greatest food ever. I could eat here every week. Well, that's not the way it is. I mean, if you like an artist and you want to go see them play live, you find out where they're playing and you go see them. And being in Southern California, it's easy for us to just pop up to LA, and we're going to go see a show. We'll just drive up to LA and see them at the Hollywood Bowl, or see them at the Greek Theater. We'll see them.
Chain Reaction.
Oh, was that the name of the venue? Okay. So the venue closes, but the spirit lives on. And if Alex and I are going to create the next generation of Chain Reaction, we're going to rely on volunteers. We're going to rely on helpers, people. There are people that I have not met yet that are going to be involved in the venue. And the idea that Alex and I are putting together a business plan to open a venue here in Orange County in the next couple of years is going to require some study and some real hard work. We're going to put on at least one show this year, hopefully two. And we had committed to doing maybe weekly shows next year, or in a couple of years, we're going to do multiple shows per week, either at a venue or at at our own place. And if that's a 99 seat venue, because it's affordable and that's what we can do, we'll start there and grow into a 300 seat venue. Or if I get the right partners and I find the right people to help us, we're gonna really explore opening up a theater, and we could have shows. Wednesday we can do our improv group. Thursday we can do our comedy night. Friday, Saturday are bands. Sunday is our podcast. And all the ideas or thoughts that are percolating within my head, we can actually put into action. All we need is just, I don't know, somebody wants to write us a check for $2 million. Let's get started. So the idea that we're working towards that gives me hope, and every day that gets me out of bed. So when I'm doing videos or I'm doing interviews or I'm creating a promotional, 90-second spot or a weekly news segment, all that is leading us towards a goal. So for Alex to put up with me and my long rants and stories is a blessing to have him as my co-host, but this podcast wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for him, because that's my codependence. I rely on somebody who is going to be not only a partner in this whole idea, but like someone who can motivate me, because I want to give him a platform to perform live. I want to give him a platform to play, because the drummer in me, the producer in me, has always said, well, I'm going to be back here in the background. Let me go ahead and I'll just play this rhythm. You go out there and sing and become famous and popular. And that's kind of the way I treat this podcast. Take it away, co-host.
Ron, I appreciate all your energy, and it's better to have too much energy than not enough energy.
Yes.
And I get it. And so whatever you go through, I think you exhaust yourself.
I do. I tornado it up.
By the way, part of this staff meeting here is like technical stuff too, because Ron doesn't want me looking at the real Ron. Ron would prefer I look at the virtual Ron he gave me. But
look, we're getting better at podcasting.
What he really prefers is that I talk to you, the audience. Guys, it's me. It's me, Alex Rodriguez, here to say thank you for watching us. Thanks for being interested. And you are welcome. You are part of this. Comment, write to us. Tell us what we're missing. Tell us what you know about the music scene, about being a musician.
Yeah, and if you're a venue and you want to come on the show, come on the show.
Share your wisdom. And that's the next thing, by the way. That's the next thing. Figuring out what are the stages in our area, in and around our area, because I really don't know. So like I told you before, Ron, I'm going to go to like Linda's Doll Hut. I'm going to show up at places and talk to people who've been there decades, and I want to get to know. And I want to get to know what's available, because Ron and I both being passionate about up and comers, like I want you to know too. I want you to have all the tools, that are available. And that's why I show up with the dad wisdom all the time. Guys, there's nothing replaces hard work, okay? Nothing replaces doing it, right? Or as the great Evil Lee used to say, ain't nothing to it but to do it.
We'll leave it there. Join us again soon here on the Orange County Music Podcast. We promise you more music and more podcasts.
And do share and engage. And if you have, if you've got that time and energy, it'll help us. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the podcast with Alex Rodriguez and Ron Williams. Hey! They talk about the Orange County music scene, from the past to the present and the future. Come back again soon for more great talk and music discoveries.